Hello everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We have our first transmission about to professional Android app development. Um, I would like to check some stuff here. The topic about the lesson number one. Uh, we have some interesting topics on lesson number one. One of the are the Android architecture. I would like to talk a lot about Android architecture. We have a lot of videos here about Android architecture, like the intro, like we have a different Android architecture. We have the model view controller and model view presenter, which is a topic very basic. We have more examples about the Android architecture or other usual Android architecture. One example is model view model. I would like to talk a little bit more the clean architecture because it's a good topic uh, in the dates. A lot of companies are using the clean architecture because has some uh, strong topics in the architecture. I think it's a good point to start. I think uh, I would like to share some code skills about the clean architecture. Yeah, so let's do it. So I would like to recommend uh, that you can check the GitHub. There are some stuff that's called blueprints. Let me check where is. I think it's in the Google repository. Okay, let's check. GitHub blueprints. Okay, so I will recommend this repository because we have a collection of samples when you can find all the architecture related to the under professional one. I think it's a good point to start. We can read a little bit about what samples we have here. For example, I like to use dependency injection, which is the Dagger 2 or Dagger 1. Well, I think the Dagger 2 is the better option, but we have MVP using Dagger. We have other duplicates samples here, for example, using the data binding or using the Rx Java. So I would like to center with the FDP Dagger. I think is the better option because well, we know that is the dependency injection is just a pointer to create a new object. We have other pointers, so I think we have a good sample here. Maybe we can see a little bit about the model view presenter or MVP. So we will focus on this chart. So we know that all the applications or Android application, even the iOS applications, we have local data. We have network calls or remote calls. We have some uh, local local persistent data. We have some local data source or some cache. For example, the share preference is like a cache. So I think the MVP is the first architecture that you need to know and you need to explore, because we all the other architecture, for example, the MBBM, MVP, clean architecture, the basic block is MVP. So, but what's the meaning about the MVP? It's very simple. We can see here is the model, the view, and the presenter. So the model we have all related to models. For example, we have a here a remote data source. We have a table called clients. The clients has some ID, names, and all the fields about the clients, uh, ID, name, last name, address. So that's all related to the models. For our case, we have the view. We can we can define like a view all related to activities, fragments, or even views, under views. So we have here all related to the user interface. So the idea with this part there is that we can split by layers, and the layers uh, has some difference, and they are the dependence for other layer. So, but the idea is try to split all the models, all the UI, and we have the presenter, which is like a bridge between the models and the views. So is this guy is the person that's try to try to handle all the models and all the remote calls, and gives to the information to the view. So we can explore a little bit about the codes. So this is Android projects, common projects. We can find search main. So we can see here we have the all the data. For example, we have our model, one of the models. So in this example, we are looking that is immutable model class for a task. So what fields has the task? We have the entity ID, the title, description, and the boolean, which is a complete or maybe not complete. So the models are basically fields and setters and getters, and that's it. So we can see that we have methods like equals. So this equals works when we need to compare a model with the other one. So we have all the layer about this data source or the repository, but right now I would like to center in other things. So here we have a good example about the MVP. We have the presenter, we have a view, we have other view. So I think here, let me check here. I have a notification. So, okay. So here we have a good example. So let's open Starix activity. So we have here basically activity all related to UI. We have the toolbar. We are setting the toolbar. We have a driver layout, which is like a menu, left menu in the Android app. We have a navigation. We have some options here. When you push, for example, the home, you will start the home. But so the view in this case is our fragment. So you can check here that our fragment implements the view because is like a contract, yeah. So and even we have a contract here. So how you handle the view with the presenter? So we need a bridge between the view and the presenter, and that bridge is the contract. So, but the contract is an interface. So because it's a contract, so we have a view that needs to be agreed like with the contract. So if our framing implements to the our contract needs these methods, which is set progress indicator, show statics, show loading statics error, and is active. So if we search indicator on our view, we have here the override because it's need that override. Because if not, Android Studio put here like a link and say, hey, your class or your statics fragment needs override methods. So because it's a contract. So you need to, so our view needs to be agree with our contract. And that's the idea. So, but what happened with our presenter? We can find our presenter. So our presenter also implements to the contract. So what we have here on presenter, we don't have nothing. But usually you need to add some methods here. For example, if you need to a call from the view to the some remote service. So you need to create here as a method, but in this example, we don't have nothing. So, and one thing that is very interesting in this case is that if you see here, our presenter extends to base presenter, but why? So we search the base presenter here. So our base presenter has a method start, but so always that we implement a presenter for a new from scratch presenter. So we need to override the start. If we see an example about this static presenter, we have the override. So in this case, well, all depends what are you using to communicate your Android app. But for example, if you are using Event Bus for create events, you are agree with to use event boss, for example, or something else. So here you can start your event boss, for example, or you need to load some stuff, or you need to load some stuff, so you can start on this stuff. So we just see about to MVP. So if you see here, we have a branch which is called to the MVP. So let's check a little bit about Dagger. We have the to do MVP Dagger. So for start this lesson, the lesson number 1, I think is better that you start understanding the MVP, because are the main block to the other architecture. So let's check using Dagger. We have other patterns here. One of them are the dependency injection. That means the carpet or the folder DI, dependency injection. So we need to talk a little bit about that these classes are the guys that provides a new object. So, for example, we have the module. Here is an abstract class, but basically, look, which is doing is uh, um, provide some stuff. We can find some like a component, but the idea with show the MVP using Tagger is that it's like the same. So let's check the base presenter. We have the same, just we have other methods in the base presenter. In this example, we have a take view, and the other is the drop view. So do you remember in MVP we just have a, a method which is the start, but all depends that what we are using. But for example, in this presenter, we are using other stuff. We need to to take care about the view. We need to take care about when the view is destroyed. So here we are changing a little bit the difference between the presenters. Uh, the same happened with using the clean. Let's check what is the difference. So the idea is that you start with base presenter and create a base presenter, and all the presenters extends to this base presenter, because the life cycle to the presenter or the methods like in all the presenter, in the whole presenters in your app will be the same. So let's check the base presenter here. we have the same like the MVP. Let's check the base view. We have a base view, which is all the views created in the context needs to extend to a base view because we should have the same in all views. So let's check what is the difference between the MVP, the clean, and the MVP using Dagger. So we have a set presenter here. Why? Because when you are defining your view in this example, the fragments, you need that the fragment or the view or the activity knows who's the presenter. So that's the reason because the set presenter. We have here, we don't have nothing in using Dagger, but for example, using clean, the view needs to to know who is your presenter. So that's the reason about the base view. So let's check task detail. So let's check the task detail fragment because it's the first layer. So we have a normal fragment here that extends to fragment. We have a here that extends to Dagger fragment because I think this Dagger fragment is created in this project because it has some dependency injection stuffs. So, but are like the same. So I think the difference here is if you check, for example, let me see. Yes, here the task detail contract presenter we are injecting because we are using Dagger. But what happened here with the contract presenter here? So we are creating that object from scratch. But we have a less methods here using Dagger because the Dagger is take care about the creation. So that's the difference because we are providing the presenter directly in the fragment, but here we are creating from scratch. And what happened here? We have like same with MVP, but the idea here is that the view, in this case, or fragment, needs to know where's the presenter or where's the bridge between the remote calls or something else, or the local data storage, because the presenter is the bridge. So the view needs to know where's my presenter, for example. So we have our contract. So what is the contract? Is the bridge between our view and our presenter. Is the interface that needs to or that helps us to create a contract for our view and create a contract for our presenter. So what we have on our contract here, I remember I just tell you that we are watching the clean architecture. Here we have the MVP using Dagger. Here we have just MVP. So if you see, the difference is not so much. We don't have so much difference. Are the same? So I would like to think this. If you learn MVP, you can start to other architectures or move forward very easy with other architectures. So it's important that you need to learn about MVP because it's the basic or is the main block or is the first block for the other architectures. So because if you see here, we don't have difference. Our contract is the same because our our view and our presenter needs to be agreed with that contract. So we check the presenter. We need to know what have the presenter. So let's check the presenter. So this presenter are doing something else, but because are creating the objects with other stuff. For example, here he is creating the new objects from the constructor. We know that these presenters are using daggers, so are providing all the stuff. This is like the same with clean architecture. So I think if you learn MVP, it's very easy to move forward with clean architecture because are like the same, just has some difference. For example, where are the classes and on what folder are the classes? I think is one of the difference between MVP and clean architecture. But yeah, that's the idea. I think it's a good start point. Check all the under architecture blueprints. We have many here. We have many stuffs here. So I think I would like that you check this repository and you just need to fork or give a start. Uh, so yeah, that's the one of the stuff that I like to talk. The other stuff is Firebase. I think Firebase is a great platform from Android that helps us to create a new application very easy with less effort. So it's very easy to use. We have many documentation about the Firebase. It's so easy that you just need to go write Firebase on Google. You can find the Firebase. We have a lot of products here on Firebase. Sorry, but I have my computer in Spanish. I'm from Guatemala, so but let me check if I can change. Yeah, I can change to English. Okay, we have our English. So we have a great product on Firebase. One example is the real-time database. It is like a good database for all under application. I think if you are um, developing a new application for a startup, you can start to use Firebase very well. If you need something else like more enterprise, you can continue using the Firebase, but obviously the pricing change. That's one of the reasons that you need to be concerned about the pricing, about Firebase, but all depends that you price. So we have a good authentications. If you need Google authentication in your app, it's very easy to start with Firebase. It is like just some clicks, and you can create the UI very easy. You just to add the integrator a dependency. You just add the dependency integrator and stuff like that. Um, you need to create activity and create a view from the Firebase. It's very easy to create the user interface. And all related to Firebase is created in the Google Cloud. So I think it's very easy to start. Um, in this example, we can find. I like the Google samples GitHub because we have many good stuff here. So I think it's a good virus. I think the repository is very old. So, but let's check. I would like to explain a little bit the console. If you have a Google account, you have the Firebase very easy. So for a startup project, you just need to add a project, have put something like lesson one. With the projects you probably are creating, and all the console is very intuitive. So I think we don't have we are not lost with the console. Okay, so here is get started. It's very easy to just to click in Android. You need to create your package, for example, with the X, Galileo, that app, something like that. It's hey, no, hey, no. It's edX Galileo. Galileo. It's the app. So it's very here is like is you need to open your Android Studio. We open my Android Studio. Yes, I will create a new project. Okay, I just changed to create Android project, so I put something like edX Galileo. creating the package. Oh, what is the package? I don't know. Sorry, but I don't remember the package that I put here. Oh, we have the Excalibur. So let's check. Okay, you can see right now our files. Sorry, but it's just to create the new projects, and it is like what's the name of the project, and you put something like IndiaX. Uh, I like something like that. So that is a new panel because Android changed the dashboard, but it's very easy to find all related. For example, if we have authentication, we can see here what user are using our app, what method we can enable, disable, what authentication method we need to start. For example, Facebook, Google. Uh, but yeah, I think in the next meeting that we have here on the course, we we will start about to what we can and what we cannot using the Firebase, but it's one topic that in the lesson one about the building a chat application. We have some exercise, for example, the lesson one. We are using the grid cycle image view. You can find, or you should find the repository about the example. Yeah, here. So if you have some doubts, you just to clone the repository or download all related. If you have some questions with the quiz, please let us. Please, we are very interested that you use our forum discussion and you can ask all the questions here, and we will try to answer all the questions. We have a new one, so I think is oil related. If you have some question, please use the forum. We are happy to help you. Thank you so much for all.